So guys, I mentioned this in a previous video, kind of offhand because I didn't really think it was that big of a deal, but The Rock is making waves in terms of the left-wing ecosphere. And the main reason for that is because leftists are insane narcissists who deal only in identitarianism. They think that if you are to disagree with them, you are automatically a bad person and they need not contend with your ideas. This is the reason why instead of debating people, they just label you, a bad person, and somehow this makes you worse than them. The good news, of course, is that massive swaths of the population that previously were not awake to this moral fraudulence and openly tyrannical stance are becoming aware of it. But I underestimated the number of liberal women. And when I say liberal women, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this. Yeah, I'm talking about this. This is the crowd of rich liberals that I spent a lot of time around. These are the type of people that loved to cheer on Elon Musk back in 2015, 2014, even 2016. But as soon as he came out for free speech and being able to disagree with the establishment, oh my gosh, boy did things change quickly. Electric cars? I'd rather buy the Chevy Bolt, even though it's an inferior product and literally explodes. It's better than driving in a virtual MAGA hat, am I right? This is the sentiment and response that they're having to The Rock saying, I am not going to endorse our politically grandstanded agent of basically embodied resentment, because I don't really think people are pro-Biden. I think they're just, anti the other guy. What's eerie and scary about this is that the left is saying they're jumping so many steps in their ideological desperation that they're not even trying to hide their unseriousness, how little they care about truth. They're going straight to saying Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who previously was a hero of theirs, a pawn for what true masculinity must look like, because it submits to women, is now a threat to democracy. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a threat to democracy, and he hates his daughter for some reason. Guys, this isn't just absurd, it's dangerous. They're willing to lie to the ultimate degree. Quality of ideas doesn't matter to them. They've rejected the notion of truth as they've aligned themselves with a postmodernist idea that there is no such thing as an objective framework. There's no better and worse ways of interpreting reality. Of course, they've also become morally relativistic and nihilistic in alignment with that incorrect conclusion. And so they've told themselves there's no cost, there's no downside to playing this identitarian game where virtue is determined based on the person who says the ideas rather than the validity of the ideas. I mean, that's classic discrimination. Determining the worth of a statement based on who says it rather than the quality of the statement. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is now basically their enemy because he said he wouldn't blindly bow to their ideology given the mess it's created in this country. Their response isn't, well, maybe we should think about the mess we've created. No, as far as they thought about that, it was just, oh my gosh, people are recognizing that we're frauds. Oh my gosh, we need to double and quadruple and triple down. They're trying to push a modern Gestapo where they control all the virtue, that is counterfeit virtue, and say any person that doesn't instantly agree with us is by default a bad person. It's ultimate narcissism. The left promotes endless ultimate narcissism. In the leftist ideology, they are pushing to end democracy because they're trying to remove their opposition from the ballot and throw their opposition in jail. So obviously they're tyrannical and do not want a free society. They hate individuality because Marxism demands that there is no such thing as an individual because it denies the existence of individual accountability, which is the reason why they promote socialism. They despise meritocracy because they can't stand the concept of the individual and the corresponding concept of individual accountability. They can't stand morality because they've aligned themselves with the morally relativistic bent of postmodernism that says there is no better and worse ways of interpreting reality. And that's such a lie. It's the equivalent of saying that, a hydrogen molecule is made up of two carbons and, lithium. It's just objectively incorrect. It's the same as saying the earth is flat. The world has objectively realizable aspects and attributes to it, qualities that allow us to do science, that allow us to make progress in philosophy, because the world is actually comprehensible. We derive truth from the fabric of reality itself, like Socrates realizing reason, like Newton discovering physics. Reality makes itself known. It is not made in the image of leftist ideology, but they do insist that everything is socially constructed. There is no objective, comprehensible, realizable aspect to reality. And that's the reason they're narcissistic. That's the reason they think they should be able to say who is a person, it's not even whose opinions matter at this point, it's who's a person. And this is becoming more desperate, more ramped up. The narcissism is becoming increasingly unabashed as the election approaches, because the only thing they believe in is power, seizing control and power. Remember, because they don't believe in meritocracy and they don't believe in the individual. The only thing that exists to these people that mediates relationships between humans is power. It's the reason why they're openly authoritarian. It's the reason why when you criticize them, the response is not, okay, let me address what you're saying in terms of a logical framework. It's, you're a bad person. I will continue to do what I'm doing anyway because the only thing I believe in is power. It's the reason why everyone is recognizing now that these people are just wannabe tyrants. Of course, they are very incompetent, childish, demonic tyrants, but this is still the quality of their character. As these tyrants become increasingly desperate near the election, things could become unglued. If civilization starts to collapse, I mean, there is no telling where they could take this resentment. I've said this before, but the only thing holding our society together is the fumes of Christianity and the Second Amendment. Half the population is willing to dispense with the other half in the name of inclusivity and compassion.